Shai, Brakate Hawa, Brakate Hawa Shai, Kalhalalan Lai, Hawa Bashem Yawa Shai, Bashem Kakodash. Dug honors to the apostles and elders of Graham Stone who taught me this truth and who still lead as examples to the flock. Peace and salutations to the Akim out there pushing his word in all sincerity, in all honesty, you know. So this is an update, of course, on the United Kingdom, now announcing that there will be a mandatory digital ID by the end of, the lifetime of this particular parliament, which runs until 2029, and no UK citizen will be able to work, without it, and we're not tired of bringing out, news like this. We're happy to be a broken record, bringing out, different things like this, showing you people, the truth of what's to come. The biggest prophecy that's about to take place apart from World War III is the implementation of the RFID microchip as the mark of the beast, the implantable RFID microchip as the mark of the beast. Now, on a recent video I did, right, I went into how a modern technocracy would implement a charagma like in Revelation 13, verse 16. And this is a question that I posed to this AI chat right here. And it broke it down exactly how we broke it down. And one of the things that it pointed out, as you can see here on screen, a unified digital ID system. And then down here, even further, it says what? An implantable RFID or NSC chip, right? And I went into that, all of this, so if you want more information on this part, you can go back to my channel. Just a few days back, I went into, I believe I broke it down, AI breaks down or AI explains Revelation 13 verse 16 or the charagma, something like that, right? So going down, I continue this conversation quite a bit. One of the things that I said is that these mechanisms are being implemented right now, so it's not theoretical, right? And, it says the infrastructure that could support a comprehensive marking system isn't just theoretically possible, much of it already exists. So now, this is a few days later now, today, just now, the Spirit, prodded me, if you want to put it that way, to say, let's put this into the chat that I was having because this aligns very perfectly with the conversation that I was having. Right, so I said, update, the UK has announced a mandatory digital ID. Right, so the reply was, you're correct. This is a very recent and significant development. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced Friday that every British worker in Britain will be required to have a digital ID card, making the UK the first major Western nation to implement mandatory digital identification. Right? So these are this is their justification. The government frames this as combating illegal immigration, and making government services more accessible, with Prime Minister Keir Starmer calling it an enormous opportunity for the UK. Now, this language has always been used in crisis-driven management. Whenever you have a crisis, right, they always describe it as an opportunity, right? It is an opportunity to pass a law, right, that would otherwise not have been possible. And it says here, this represents a major milestone in the progression towards comprehensive digital identification system. The UK had previously attempted similar schemes in the 2000s under Tony Blair, but those plans were abandoned due to civil liberties concerns. So now they have a boogeyman, now they have a crisis, now they have an opportunity to say, this is why we need it. Just like the Patriot Act couldn't pass unless there was 9/11. You understand? So you need certain crises, right, in order to justify passing certain laws which will infringe upon persons' liberties and, pretty much take control of their lives, right? Your observation about technological infrastructure being actively implemented rather than theoretical is now starkly demonstrating. We're witnessing the actual rollout of digital identification in a major Western country. Right, democracy. This moves the discussion from could happen to is happening. So I love this precept. We always read this precept. I love it even more in the NLT. 2 Corinthians 2:11, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. And if you've been keeping up to the Spirit with the development that's been going on for the past decade or more, right? And you've been watching the Brothers of Great Millstone, then these things will fall right in line with the narrative that we've been prophesying, right? It will not come as something strange to you, right? Habakkuk 2, verse 1, I will stand upon my watch, set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me. So we're watching news, constantly scanning for different developments that will tie into the prophecy, because that's what a watchman does, right? And what I shall answer when I am proved, and the Lord said unto me, right? Write a vision, make it plain upon tables that he may run, that we did it. And we've been running all over YouTube, running all over social media, running on the highways and the byways. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but any shall speak and not lie, though it tarry. Wait for it, right? Because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And what did the AI chat say? This discussion moves from could happen to is happening. It's here now. So I went even further. I said, how can governments evolve from having digital ID be an app on a smartphone, because that's what it's going to be in the UK, right? To being connected to an implanted RFID microchip. Now, this is the play, right? We've shown you the play before. You know, different brothers and elders have done videos. I myself have done videos on how it's gonna go from being on your phone, right, to being a wearable, to then being implanted. Here it goes. The transition from smartphone based digital ID to implanted chips would likely follow a predictable progression based on incremental normalization. Let's look up that. Let's look up what normalization means. Right? Boom. Normalization. The process of bringing or returning something to a normal condition or state. Right? Let's see if you can get another definition here. Look up normalization. Yeah. So pretty much the act of making something normal, right? For example, they coined a new term during the pandemic called the new normal, right? So through incremental, right, meaning gradual, right, relating toward the notes into an increase or addition, especially one of a series in a fixed scale, incremental, right, it means gradual. You take your time, making a change. And practical problem solving, meaning problem reaction solution, Hegelian dialectic. Governments would first highlight the limitations of phone based systems. Lost or stolen phones creating access problems, battery death preventing essential transactions, phone damage or malfunction blocking services, security vulnerabilities in mobile devices, cost burden of requiring citizens to own smartphones. Phase two, wearables. The next step would introduce more convenient alternatives, RFID enabled cars, wristbands, jewelry, biometric scanners that don't require devices, NFC rings or patches as lifestyle improvements, medical alert devices that also serve as ID. Phase three, medical integration. Implants will be introduced to healthcare contexts, and especially the Ella Yashwamba, he dove into that, showing you how, especially during the whole pandemic, he showed you how the healthcare is going to be used to really push the implantable chip, right? Medical devices that also store ID data, pacemakers, insulin monitors, medical emergency access, instant health record availability, mental health patients or elderly with dementia getting safety chips, military or high security personnel adoption. Phase four, convenience and security marketing. Once early adopters normalize the technology, marketing implants as ultimate convenience, never lose your ID again, enhanced security features impossible with external devices, social status associated with cutting edge technology, integration with other body monitoring health tech. Phase five, important, crisis driven mandate. A crisis would provide justification for universal adoption. Major security breaches affecting external devices, like Klaus Schwab was saying from way back when, after the pandemic ended, the next major crisis could be a cyber security crisis, a cyber attack, right? Public health emergency requiring instant verification, not a pandemic, right? Economic crisis where only secure transactions are permitted, economic failure. Fairness arguments about ensuring everyone has equal access. Gradual restriction of alternatives, right? So first they're gonna say, "Oh no, it's not mandated," and then slowly but surely, they just reduce the options. Parallel to chip promotion, external options would increasingly become limited expenses or inconvenient until the implant becomes the obvious choice. This progression leverages the principle of incremental acceptance. Each step seems reasonable given the previous one until society arrives at a destination most wouldn't have initially chosen. Right? This is the playbook. We have given you the playbook. Right? Psalm 140. Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man. No, these precepts that I've read so many times should have more life to them because no, we've laid out the trap which imagine mischiefs in their heart continually are they gathered together for war. They have sharpened their tongue like a serpent. Others poisons under their lips. Selah. Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man, which purpose to overthrow my goings. The proud of is a snare for me. And cords they have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me. Selah. This is the gin. This is the trap. This is the snare and it's slowly being enclosed around people and they're not realizing it, right? The trap is being set. The game is afoot, as they say, right? I said unto the Lord, thou art my God, hear the voice of my supplication, O Lord, O Lord, O God the Lord, the strength of my salvation, thou hast covered my head in the day of battle. Grant not, O Lord Yahweh, the desires of the wicked, further not his wicked device, lest they exalt themselves, Selah. Right? Which we know ultimately the Lord is going to disappoint him at the very last moment. Right? So, hopefully this lesson was edifying. Until next time, Shalom.